Welcome to episode 175 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
The Wall 77 Club on Facebook and Instagram, at 77 Club Podcast on Twitter, Spotify, iTunes. Please subscribe and tell a friend.
Dan Bayliss is here.
Hello, everybody.
And Jack Williams.
Yo.
Jack, you've pretty much been in isolation, to start with you, since, when was it, the Tuesday before Christmas?
Tested positive on the 23rd of December, so it wrote off my Christmas and my New Year. So yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.
But yeah, and now you are completely free of it, aren't you? Completely chlamydia free. Let's have a look then. It was an interesting Christmas period, wasn't it, Harry? I mean, we were having a pretty depressing episode last time out when we were sort of saying, do we want it to be cancelled? Do you want to be behind closed doors? Looking forward to Watford on Boxing Day. Obviously, that was postponed because of Watford, then the Arsenal game. 2 days later was called off at Wolves' request. So the way it's gone, with a win over Manchester United at Old Trafford, it's been a pretty good festive period.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I was gutted, particularly the Arsenal game. That really annoyed me that one was called off, just for selfish reasons, because I wanted to watch football. But in hindsight, it did us well, didn't it? I think we needed the break with a tiny, teeny squad, which we'll get onto in a bit. And it definitely suited us because we looked sharp against Man United. And by the way, I'm just saying, I've broke a record today because this is the longest I've ever gone into dry January whilst failing. So I've lasted 3 days. So there we go. Come on, the boys.
It's a thought that counts, isn't it? Bayliss, I mean, there are so many stats around this one. It looks like the quiz writers are going to have to rewrite a lot of their questions because I think Moutinho, at 35 years, 117 days old, is the oldest visiting player to score a winning goal at Old Trafford. There was something I saw that was, I'm so proud Moutinho is now the answer to the quiz question. And I'll ask you because you're probably the most likely to know it. Jack's probably the second most likely. And Harry might surprise everyone by knowing it. But I'm so proud of Moutinho is now the answer to the quiz question. What do you think the quiz question was and who do you think said it?
No idea.
I think I know. I think I've seen it. Is it who's the oldest player to score a last minute, to score a winning goal?
Winner at Old Trafford.
No, it isn't. No.
Oh.
Can you just repeat the question?
Where he is, though.
He is.
This person said, I'm so proud Moutinho is now the answer to the quiz question. And that quiz question has been relevant for 42 years.
Oh, the last Wolves player to score a winner at Old Trafford?
Oh, it's Mel Eves.
Correct. Yes, there we got it eventually. Not too bad. So loads of them. And one that I saw, which I haven't checked because I just haven't had time. Cristiano Ronaldo had never lost a single match as a captain in his club career. And this is the first time that has happened.
Really?
Are you going to say Portugal then? Because Portugal's not a club.
Not just Man United as captain. That's
no, and he wouldn't have been a captain at Sporting, would he? And Real Madrid. I'm trying to think he would have been captain.
Shithouse Ramos.
Yeah, probably is. And was there another? Anyway, So just all of these records just seem to be falling by the wayside. Wolves fans were in full voice, Jack. What a great occasion. I think Mikey Burrows tweeted at one point saying there was a moment not long into the game last night when Wolves fans were cheering every pass as if it was 5 minutes left with 3-0 up. So it's just loud through the whole thing. I mean, I thought we were loud from watching it on TV, but I didn't know, sometimes it's because they're closer to the microphones and that sort of thing. But I have a boss who's a Manchester United season ticket holder. So obviously the email went out this morning saying Happy New Year and picture of Moutinho celebrating. But he said that Wolves fans were annoyingly loud.
Yeah, it's good, and it looked like a rowdy away end, really. Just gutted I couldn't go, really, because I'm a Wally. I gave my ticket away, didn't I? But hey-ho, a bit gutted about that one, watching it back on TV. But it looked the way you'd expect it to be, really, just loud, boisterous, and taking the piss a lot, to be honest with you, because it was just a great performance. Whenever we go into these big games lately, I always think that it's going to be a close game. And just looking at how good our defence has been this year, it's going to be close. But to dominate the way we did, particularly in the first half, like we were barely giving them a kick. Like the midfield ran the show, and like players like Podence and Trincao did all right as well. To be fair, just we're creating stuff, and we're just unfortunate again that we couldn't score when we were on top, because as soon as it got into the second half and they started to bring Fernandes on and they got back into it a bit, you were starting to think, we know what's going to happen here, particularly when he rattles the bar. When Fernandes rattles the bar, you think, we're going to regret not scoring when we're on top, really. But luckily, just turned out to be our day, really. And it was a great performance. You can't fault us. And I don't think even the most idiotic, stupid Man United fan couldn't begrudge us that win because we were much the better team. The stats showed it. We created more chances.
I'm sure they could, Jack.
They're very unhappy, aren't they? You can tell, especially
very angry.
All these London-based or Mumbai-based Man United fans. As soon as they lose to a team like Wolves, where they just think they shouldn't be winning because they won the Champions League in 1999, they think they should be able to beat Wolves any day of the week. But yeah, they don't like it, do they?
No, and 2008 in their defence. Harry, it was an opening 20 minutes, and actually I think the first half as a whole, where you just sat there going, why haven't we scored yet? I think we had Podence trying to beat De Gea, trying to catch him out a few times at his near post. I just don't think it's going to happen with someone of his calibre. Raul had a couple of good, almost like through balls over the top in that first half, but I thought he looked completely out of sorts, completely off the pace.
Yeah, so for me, everyone was fantastic. The only two that were a bit naff was Raul and Trincao for me, personally. Podence stood out. I think Sky gave him man of the match, didn't they? But yeah, that first half, like you said, just how didn't we score? We absolutely dominated play. And I thought it was going to be a carbon copy of the Molineux game where they beat us late on, but it wasn't. And I just wish as well that Neves' volley would have gone in because that would be a screamer, wouldn't it, off that corner? But honestly, I didn't expect it. I had very little hope going into this game. I know United are not very good, really, but they've had a little bit of a boost under this new man. What's his name? I can't even pronounce it.
Rangnick,
whatever. So they've had a bit of a good run. I don't think they've lost, have they, under him before? Against
3 wins and a draw, I think he'd had.
So we just went there and absolutely bossed them. Like we just made them look average, and I'm just happy we won. Like Jack said, though, they rattled the bar. We defended well in spells when we needed to, but God, look at the stats and the run of play. We deserve that win, and fair play to Bruno Lage because I thought he made the good substitutions as well, which we criticised him for.
And they were early.
Traore on early, and obviously Fabio.
We have to go over to the wing back correspondent at this point, and you have to give us a full, honest breakdown of how the wing backs performed.
Well, I thought we were very good because we actually played with a wing back style of football, didn't we?
Yes.
They actually got forward and we drove towards the Man United box with the wing backs. That's the point of playing with them, and I think that's how we created most of our chances. It let Podence run in behind and play out wide, and it created 5 or 6 decent chances in the first half alone.
On which side?
Both in all fairness. I thought Marcel looked a little bit shaky at times, but had a solid game, and Semedo had a really solid game. I think on the whole, there's no one you can really criticise on the Wolves side, and there were 5 or 6 very, very good performances across the. If you look at our whole season, this and West Ham are probably the standout too, and that was utterly superb. We control the middle of the park like I've not seen us do for a long time, and I know that the pundits will say, "Oh, it's because it's a weak Man United team," and all sorts of nonsense. Yeah, it's absolute shite.
Yeah,
it was because Wolves controlled the game, but having that outlet and being able to play the ball wide and early, let the wing backs actually get forward. I think it was Moutinho more than anyone that won Wolves the game by his just utter dominance, and Neves as well.
And Neves, yeah.
But we were just so dominant in the middle, and that's what wins you games. That's why Moutinho's the best player to play for Wolves. There's your controversial opinion.
Yeah, we'll come to that later, of course. Just for the context of people that weren't listening before we went live, we will have an unpopular opinion later. Jack, it does sort of end that argument, and I'll be one of the people that said that he needs to be playing a little bit less, and the new blood needs to be coming in, and maybe would if we actually signed some players. But the Moutinho and Neves partnership is functioning like of old.
It's been completely refreshed, hasn't it, really? I think Lage has definitely just got the best out of them, because there were definite times under Nuno. I mean, even towards the start of this season when we were saying that Neves and Moutinho shouldn't be playing together, you should play Dendoncker with another one of them. But this year, they've just been completely sort of rejuvenated as a partnership, I think. And you got to give Bruno credit, haven't you? You've got to give him credit, because the thing I really like about him as well is that he obviously really knows his football, and he comes out afterwards and he sort of justifies his opinion. He actually explains what he was thinking and why he did it.
It almost went viral, didn't it? That post-match interview.
Managers just don't do that, do they? They just come out and say, "Oh, tough game, we did well, blah 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 blah." Just generic, statements, don't they? But rather than
Doddsy in my head again.
I was thinking exactly the same thing.
But he actually comes and says, like, "Oh, we did this with the wing backs, and then as soon as I realised where the space was, this is when we decide how we want to play, because we want to exploit that space, and blah 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 blah." Everybody goes through his thought process, which I think is quite refreshing, really. But yeah, I love the bloke because he just seems to have got this extra level out of some of the players who, myself and on this podcast, we thought were maybe not up to scratch. Players like Sace, players like Cody, arguably Kilman because he wasn't getting really that much of a look in under Nuno, and they just look like a completely different players, don't they? They just look, we've already let him 14 goals all season. Only Man City's better than that, and that's 15. It's mental.
In all
really,
fairness, we've only scored 14 and only Norwich are worse.
Do you know what?
But it doesn't matter, does it? Like if you don't let in goals, you give yourself a chance, do you? So
one man I've got to mention while you're saying that, Jack, is at the end of the game when Fabio Silva gave that free kick away. My balls were up my ass and in my mouth when Bruno Fernandes.
Had you left them in there? Had you from that?
No,
game,
but when Fernandes and Ronaldo have stood over that ball in the 94th minute, I'm just like, yeah, it's a draw, lads. Turn the telly off. They're going to ping this top corner, and then Jose Sarr again. Just pulls off an incredible save.
I cheered like we scored when he saved it.
Yeah. I mean, this season, he's been a revelation. I know Gary Neville put him in his signing of the season, didn't he, or something like that on Sky the other week. And we've just got to keep singing his praises because although our defence is incredible, that bloke behind him and half kept us in some games with his saves.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't mentioned him only once, and that was you, Harry, there. And it could have been the only person that we were talking about had that free kick going. It was Fabio Silva. Came on for Raul. Like I say, I think he was out of sorts. He's out of form. I don't know what's going on there. He just doesn't see himself. But Jack, I thought he did well. The build-up to the goal was all him as well. Take it into the feet, holding off the pressure and distributing it perfectly.
I think it's the best substitute appearance by Fabio Silva since he's been at the club, really. Because, he came on and I think arguably did more than Jimenez did for the 80 minutes when he just came on for those 10 minutes plus injury time. The only the mark on that would have been if that free kick had led to a goal, because we were all thinking, just why have you done that? Just and they're still not going anywhere. They don't look that threatening. And you give them that chance. And obviously, it's a weird thing about free kicks and giving away set pieces in injury time, because if they miss, it wastes a lot of time, doesn't it? Because it takes a lot of messing about. The problem is it's a big risk. And as soon as Fernandes hit that, I thought that was in. I thought it's going in it. It's going in it. But then I remembered that Sarr's an absolute boss. So so that was good, really. But shout out to Fabio Silva, because again, another player who we've criticised previously. I've criticised previously, but I think he came on and did really well then and did exactly what you want to do when you bring on a fresh pair of legs at the top. Held up the ball well. Looked strong, didn't he? Looked strong against Man United players, which, he's been criticised in the past, definitely, because he's only a young lad still for being weak. But, that layoff to Neves, which then went to Traore, ultimately made the goal. Fair play to him.
That Neves pass.
It was nice. Yeah. The only one that's currently got a query over their head is Trincao. I'm glad he's alone. Yes, he's a young lad, and yes, you give him time and a chance, but I haven't seen him really benefit the team or offer anything that's going to change a game yet.
See, I thought he was all right yesterday. I thought he was all right. I think I said in the WhatsApp group, he just frustrates me because you can't help but just compare him to Podence on the other side, and Podence didn't stop running, did he? And then Trincao is a bit more. He just doesn't seem to put himself about as much. I think there's
lightweight. It seems lightweight to me.
But yeah, he can lightweight. And he can be clever, but I never feel like he's going to score. I know that you can probably say that about Podence as well, but he had that shot. But that one example is, remember, I think Sky pointed it out and really battered him for it, when he got cut back across the box and he dummied it and it went to went to Semedo, didn't it? And why he's not just trying to ping that top corner, but it's rolled perfectly. Little things like that. I don't know, man. And he's obviously lightweight too. And Adama Traore being on the bench again, we're like a broken record. It's got to be the contract situation, because he's got to be starting. I know he came on and pretty much got us the goal and it worked a treat. But for me, Adama starts over him every time.
That said, there was a lot of very good performances in that game. So for Trincao to just be okay, on another day, he'd have looked one of the better players. And there were 8 out there that had an absolute blinder, if not 9. Yeah, so...
Bailey, she said then that you're glad he's not. You're glad he's a lone player. Do you think he's an upgrade on someone like Vitinha?
We didn't get to see much of him, really, did we? Either a few sparks towards the end and one good goal against Scorley.
The big men.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Against your postie.
Different players as well, because Vitinha is more of an attacking midfielder, whereas Trincao's more of like a winger forward, isn't he? So
yeah, and I don't think midfielders.
We shouldn't dwell on these negatives, because the performance on the whole was so good. We should keep hammering on about it, because those fickle, probably live somewhere in South London, absolute Man United.
You what made me laugh, right? Every time I checked Twitter, they were all creaming over Jones, weren't they? Because it was like his first appearance in 2 years, and then he was the one who headed it out to Matinho for the goal, wasn't he? And I was like, yes.
He had a good game.
I thought he had a good game. Yeah.
No, he did. Yeah.
He pulled his face as well, didn't he? I saw the screenshot of the obligatory Phil Jones face.
Did anyone hear the Mark Goldbridge reaction to the goal?
I think everyone's heard it on Wolves Twitter by now.
If you haven't, by any chance, if you listen to this and you haven't, just go and look up his name and find when we score the goal because it's so funny.
He hates
it's entitlement. Well. It's the entitlement.
Yeah,
that's the thing. But I think it's just everything seems to fall into place, didn't it, Jack? And I think that's been the difference this season. And I think when it was 0-0 at half time, and I was just like, these are so bad. And usually it's kiss of death, isn't it? Like for me to message the group and say this lot are shite. We need to get 3 points here. And usually we'd come away with probably nothing, but it all just clicked into place. And those triangular passes around all those Man United players was just beautiful starts of the year.
First half, absolutely brilliant. You can't fault us at all. And I think that the turning point was we got that little bit of luck when in previous times we might not have done because we just switched off. That's the one criticism. When that ball goes to the byline and it's cut back, and I think it's Cody who's the one who's half asleep and just not seeing the runner coming into the box of Fernandes. That was the let off, really. And as soon as that ball hit the bar, you're thinking, hang on, it might be our day here. Obviously, it's still 0-0 at that time as well. And they do start coming at us, but and we deserve the goal. It's a shame we just didn't get the goal earlier, but in the end, it sort of played out perfectly because we only had to defend for 9 minutes. One little point, actually, just on Jose Sarr. I know that Harry's already given him some praise, but the one thing I really like about him is that he's a very attacking goalkeeper. I know it's a stupid thing to say, but as soon as he gets the ball every time, he's just looking, and he's looking to go wide straight away. And Podence, every time he got the goal wanted to keep, Podence was on his bike. He was he was there. He wanted it straight away and wanted it early. And I think he's created 3 or 4 chances in the league.
Remember his assist against Southampton for Real? He's like that one, So
he doesn't mess about. He just wants to get it up the pitch really quickly, which is, it's. I don't know whether that's the manager but you didn't see Patricio doing it that much unless we were chasing the game, really.
Well, he wasn't that good with his feet, was he, Patricio? That was the thing.
No.
I think in terms of distribution, Ruddy is maybe giving him some pointers because I can't think of anyone who's as good as John Ruddy for like getting it out and literally pinging it on somene's foot.
Just if he could save a shot, though, Ruddy.
Well, that is a drawback, obviously.
I was just going to say,
we'll see on Sunday.
Yeah, we will. I was just going to say, Jack. It reminded me, obviously, when Moutinho scored. We went to that one a few years ago, didn't we? When he put on top corner. And we ended up about 15 rows down. Like, I wish I was in the away end last night because he looked like carnage. He loves that end, doesn't he, Moutinho? He loves pinging a goal in that end.
It's every time he scores, isn't it? But it's a similar because I remember when we went to that game, that was the 1-1 with the first season back in the Premier League, and we were talking to quite a lot of Man United fans before, weren't you? And they didn't think that we were as good as we were going to be. You could tell straight away. They thought they were going to come and it would be 3 or 4-0, nice day out, back on the train back to where.
Did they say?
No, it's just.
I'm expecting a great game of football here.
They're Scottish, no.
But
you could just tell we were confident, and it proved to be right in the end because we played really well. But talking to them beforehand, you could just sort of think that they were thinking, oh yeah, they think they're better than they are. Just come up for the championship, we're still going to dick them, and they just didn't happen. So
Harry, was that the day that you met Mark Goldbridge?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
So we went,
and you called him Alan Partridge straight away.
Yeah, so obviously we went to that hotel football, met Gary Neville, and that didn't we?
That's Brown, it. Yeah.
And then Mark Goldbridge was outside. I was battered.
We were on top form that day. I remember, Harry, when it was quite bad.
Was that when you hit on the waitress?
Oh, Jack, don't tell that story, do you?
I remember this. Yeah, it was bad.
Oh god! By the way, Harry, Sace on free kicks. I mean, we talk about Fernandes pinging the bar, and obviously Sace did that. I don't mind that. Shame he's gone to the African Cup of Nations.
I mean, it was the right side for him, but I was thinking, I'd still give it Neves, roll it to Neves. You know what I mean? But Moutinho and Sace stood over it, and it was perfect for him. And I think De Gea had it covered, didn't he? But it's great effort. And I thought that was going to be the moment we were going to score, to be honest. But he's a jack of all trades, and he says defends like a king, and he's a threat in front of goal as well, which is proved lately.
Perfect. Let's do a man of the match, starting with Bayliss.
Both Neves and Moutinho for the way they controlled the game. Joint
man of the match. So, Jack?
There's a lot of contenders, isn't there? I know they gave it to Podence, but I agree. Probably one of the midfielders, but I'll go for Moutinho just because it wasn't the cleanest finish ever, but it was exactly where you want to put the ball in it. So fair play to him, really.
Harry, we've got 1.5 Moutinhos.
Yeah, you've got to, haven't you? Because he played really well, and his goal just edges it. I'd go for Moutinho.
Yeah, I think we've got 3.5 Moutinhos then for man of the match. Perfect. Okay,
talk about the player ratings quickly.
That's a good shout actually, because the Sky ones. If I just get those up, I mean, they were mostly 7s all around, weren't they? Pretty much.
A 6 for Kilman. A 6 they give Kilman.
Yeah.
So it was Sarr 7, Semedo 7, Sace 7, Kilman 6, Cody 7, Marçal 7, Matinho 7, Neves 7, Trincao 6, Jimenez 7, Podence 8.
Yeah, what were the Man United ones?
So De Gea 7, Wan-Bissaka 6, Varane 7, Jones 7, Shaw 7, McTominay, Matic 6, Greenwood 7, Sancho 6, Ronaldo 6, Cavani 5. They gave Silva NA, even though Harry, you made the point that he was instrumental in the build-up to the goal.
It was a lazy rating from Sky because Man U didn't win, did it? They knew they weren't going to get many clicks. So they didn't give a shit.
It's always the same. I remember thinking back to when we played Chelsea, it was 0-0. It was only obviously just before Christmas. But a similar thing happened then. It was like all the Chelsea players got 8, so we all got 7s, and it was 0-0. Like they didn't score, we didn't let one in, but their players just automatically get a higher rating than ours. It's just, there's so much bias, but whatever, let them crack on, really. Can we talk about Ronaldo as well? And just the fact he's a little bitch.
He's a little bitch, isn't he?
Just that. Anything else in the game?
It's such a whinger. Like even when he's a yard offside for that goal, and everyone can see he was offside because he was never onside. He's still whinging about it. And
it's someone else's fault all the time, isn't it?
It's always someone else's fault. And I actually think, I know it was a great idea. Everyone thinks it was great to bring him back, but is it really helping them? Because he just seems like he's just got his arse in his hand all the time. Probably because he's playing with players who aren't as good as at Real Madrid or Juventus.
I know it's easy to say because we obviously beat them and they had a bad day. But for the first time, looking at him yesterday when they were zooming the camera in on him, he actually starting to look old, isn't he? Don't you think? A little bit in the face.
He's still scoring.
Yeah, but he's like a freak of nature, and he's like a freak athlete. But I think it's.
I just can't believe that. How high he jumps is just incredible.
That picture of him and Jimenez. Have you seen that doing the rounds when they're both like miles in the air?
In all fairness, at 36, he does still looking decent. Like Jack's 30 and he looks like a bit scratching.
He makes us not look silly, doesn't he? You see the pictures of us playing that charity game. We're all like plunging around with big guts.
Fucking speak for yourself.
Yeah, I meant me, not you.
Yeah, Harry rolling down the tunnel. I mean, he was just in Mike Dean's ear all the time as well, and you just think. And to be fair, I mean, would Mike Dean have given that free kick if it was the other way around? I know we sound like a bit of a broken record, don't we, Bayliss, a little bit. I suppose when you start to go through someone's face, you've got to give it away.
They've sacked him, haven't they? Now
they've sacked him. Yeah.
The first 10 minutes, there were 2 pretty bad fouls on Wolves players that he didn't give.
Yeah. There was one that pushed when they had a breakaway, wasn't there? And I think someone just pushed Marcel in the back, and we're not thinking ref.
I think it was Greenwood that pushed him out of the way, and then
McTominay maybe.
But I think. Overall, by Mike Dean and Andre Mariner standards, it actually wasn't too bad. I don't know where the 5 minutes injury time came from. I was thinking, as soon as
Ferguson was in the stands.
Where's
his birthday the other day.
Yeah, there's been nothing to stop, but it was good really because Mike Dean didn't have the opportunity to give him anything really, which was good really. So that's a plus really. But the one thing I couldn't get, I think I put this in the group, but apparently Mike Dean has refereed the last 3 meetings between us, like prior to the other day in the league. Like, how is that fair? Surely the whole point of having a whole roster of referees is that you don't put the same referee in charge of the same fixture all the time. Because if there is some bias there, then it's going to be highlighted, isn't it? So I don't quite get it, but anyway, it turned out all right in the end.
No, I don't get it. And, I think the refereeing in this country is abysmal. I mean, it was Mike Dean, 52 or something like that. You just think, is there not a better crop of players?
I think Jonathan in the chat's made a good point, by the way, if you want to get it up.
Simon Jordan on TalkSport actually said, ignore the United playing badly talk. Wolves played well and made Man U look poor. Actual recognition. Yeah, it was, Jonathan. And rightly so, because we see it all the time, don't we, that for a top 6 team to lose, they have to have played badly.
Yeah, they didn't give us credit. And like you said, I think you said on WhatsApp, Samuel, before we started recording, we've nearly got something out of Liverpool, or was it Jack? I don't know. We controversial decision against City and drew with Chelsea, but it's because United played shit that we won. Ridiculous.
Exactly. Fuck them. Perfect. Let's move on to FA Cup action, and it is third round action against Sheffield United at Molineux. There'll be no Morgan Gibbs-White. There probably would have been anyway because of the clause, but he's back at Wolves. But Sheffield United.
Nah, actually coming back, is he? He's just here for injuries.
He's injured. Yeah, he's injured. Jack, I think you've done a little bit of like mini research around Sheffield United and how they are doing. So I may as well just ask you what they're looking like in the league this season, which is, of course, the Championship.
mid-table at the moment. Still probably got a playoff shout because it's weird the way all this pandemic is affecting it, because I think they've got about 3 or 4 games in hand on some of the teams above them. So, it's probably going to be a bit of a stretch for them to get in the playoffs, but they're not completely without a shout, I suppose, particularly if they do win those games in hands. But it's probably looking more like a mid-table season at the moment. But I haven't particularly watched them play, really. I've just obviously heard the bits about Gibbs White when he's played well, which they seem to quite like him there, to be honest. But luckily, he can't play, obviously, can he, against us? So
we got a couple of players. Well, one player that's definitely not going to be playing in that game. That's Sace Harry. He's gone to the African Cup of Nations with Morocco. I suppose what sort of side do you think Bruno Lage is going to play in this game? Because I imagine he will probably ring the changes, but he'll still want to be playing the same style of football, which means it's going to have to be players that have had minutes this season.
Yeah, well, first of all, we're going to miss Say, especially in the league, aren't we? For the few games he's gone. The thing is, I would say with our small squad, he is going to bring in a lot of the kids and that. But remember Forest in the League Cup when he surprised us all, and the Tottenham game when he played really strong. So you never know; he might go strong. But you would like to think he'll bring the likes of maybe Giles and Sanderson in if they're available. We're obviously going to talk about the transfer window in a minute. So, yeah, you'd expect a few changes. Obviously, Dendoncker will probably come in. Fabio Silva will probably start. Ruddy in goal. Yeah, Dion at the back maybe. And that's probably it. Maybe Bolly. Is Bolly about or is he still injured? I don't know.
I think he's still out. He's going to be out for a little bit. That's why he's not going to the Africa. It's weird with him now. I'm not quite sure what the full story is. I don't think anybody really is. But it'd be interesting to see how they set up, really. I know some people were saying maybe they'll go 4 at the back. But I think the most likely thing is to just put Dendoncker in at the back in it, or Marcel. Obviously, Marcel's a bit short, which is probably the worry. So maybe, I know Dendoncker's played there before. You can maybe move Kilburn over then. But
no, they'll play Sanderson.
They'll probably play Sanderson.
You reckon?
Yeah. You think?
He's been playing in the Championship all year with Blues, hasn't he? And
I was going to say, that's the difference, isn't it? Because obviously, when you look back to that Tottenham game in the League Cup, obviously Mosquera went off injured after about 6 minutes or something stupid, didn't he? Because he rushed him back from injury. I don't think he'll make that same mistake again. So he has been playing games this season, so it's not going to be so much of a shock. Fabio up front, and what do you reckon, Aitnori and Hoover as wing backs?
Yeah, probably. Because Aitnori's back fit, isn't he? He was available for United.
He was on the bench, wasn't he?
Hoover, right wing back, you'd guess.
Yeah, Jordan I'd like to see.
Jordan's a good shout. Yeah, especially if Dendoncker does move into...
Well, that's quite weak. It is quite weak, though, isn't it?
I do. Yeah, I want to go reasonably strong. I do want a cupper on because, with our defence the way it's going, we can do quite well. So I don't want to change too much, and I don't think they will. I mean, when you've got games at this time now, we've had a nice break over Christmas, haven't we? We've got another week's rest until this one. I don't think there's any real need to rest players just yet. The problem will be when we start to get the fixture congestion with the rearranged fixtures coming back around, so that Arsenal game and that Watford game, whenever they are, particularly if we're still in the cup then. But I don't see any reason to rotate too much, really. Just the areas where we have to, or players who are coming back who have featured in the first team, like Aitnori, like Fabio. Then I think that's fair enough. But I don't want to make like 8 changes or something, because I think we're setting ourselves up.
Whilst you're on that point, you can just guarantee that Wolves get an 8 o'clock Wednesday night kickoff and then a midday Saturday against the Villa or something ridiculous like that.
Well, it's better it works. 2 days apart, isn't it? It's like Christmas. I think it's actually turned out quite well for us, really. I know we're disappointed that we didn't get to watch any football, but I think it's actually...
I was okay with that.
Yeah. Did you go to the fucking rugby?
It's like 12:30 on Boxing Day and then 12:30 on a Wednesday, and it's like, oh fuck it, it's just a bit of a ball ache. I'd rather just win at Old Trafford and then play later on in the season. We're absolutely balling it because we're going to sign Sanchez in January. Let's have a look at a score prediction starting with Jack.
It's really difficult, this one, isn't it? Because you don't know who's going to play. But you'd like to think that we should have too much for them, and you'd like to think that if they do have reasonable playoff chances, that they won't want to carry on with it too long. So hopefully an easy 2-0 win.
2-0 win. Bayliss.
Yeah, well, it just depends, doesn't it? Jack's just said it. It could be a completely different 22 to anything you wrote down on paper. So let's say Wolves go 50-50 like we have in some cup games, and Sheffield United might go a bit weaker because they want to go back up and they've got some game in hand in the league. I'll say we'll win it 3-1.
And Harry, is this the 4-1
magic
score?
No, I think we'll win. Probably like 1 or 2-0. But I think Sheffield United will make a couple of changes, and we'll probably go a bit stronger than we predict. I reckon that's going to little prediction I put in there, and I think we'll win with ease. Not ease, just comfortable. Yeah,
I like the cup. I hope we do.
Comfortable 2-0. That's what I'm going to go for. I don't think there's any betting odds out there,
I found a
Bayless at the
couple.
moment?
It's slim pickings because nothing's gone on the special.
Are we big favourites,
odds.
I guess?
Yeah. The only things that are of interest is Wolves to win by exactly 1 goal, no matter what the score is 5-2, which I didn't think is a terrible bet.
No.
And
Seems like they can't score.
And then just
More
one
than
that these sort of things happen. Sheffield United to be winning at halftime, Wolves to be winning at full time, 22-1.
Oh, that's not bad value.
But
Just a question. I know there's no replays, but is there extra time and penalties, or is it just straight to penalties?
I don't know, but
you what you do is they release 3 balls from the middle and they all fly in the air. And the goalposts are circles.
I'm assuming it's extra time penalties, Jack, if I had to guess. But
I'd have thought so.
No.
Yeah. Just curious.
Jack has some ticket news.
There's not a lot to say really. Obviously, there's loads of tickets left for the cup game, so no worries about that. If you want to get in the closed shop, there's not many left for the 15th of January against Southampton. So there's a limited availability for that. The big away news was that Brentford's information was released, and it is actually worse than I was expecting, because Brentford have built a bloody brand new ground, gone up to the Championship, and the allocation we've got is 1,600 tickets.
What? That is a closed shop.
It's that now. It actually is a closed shop. They've got a point here for Brentford, yeah. But that's any team that comes up and just built a brand new stadium and they only holds bloody 18,000 or something. It's
also terrible to get to.
They're the new Bournemouth, is it? Really? Not that bad, is it?
Gunnersbury on the 30 million stops on the district line.
Yeah, for you. I don't know. So anyway, I think it's going to
go straight there from my house. I'm not interested. You need to get a taxi.
So bearing in mind that I think there's 1,600 away season ticket holders, and the allocation is 1,665. Wow. It's even people like me on the points have got no chance. I think I have to enter a ballot to even get the last dregs of the ticket that are going to be left there. And the fact it being a new ground means I think everybody will want to go, and B, you always get people from the club who want to go to a new ground for an away game. So I reckon the club will be that 1,600 will suddenly become 1,400.
Mr. Miami.
I was going to say Mr. Miami. Yeah.
But Jack, there's no need to worry. There's no need to worry. Sam will definitely be going because Worcester play London Irish there in March for something. So,
do London Irish play in London?
They play at the Brentford ground.
I thought they were Irish. Yeah. Is that all the ticket news?
That's it, really. Yeah. So basically, Brentford away is going to be gold dust unless you've got an away season ticket. That's it.
Perfect. Okay. Let's move on to the January transfer window, which has been open for 4 days at time of recording. So, Harry, it all started actually on the 2nd of January when John Percy at the Telegraph dropped an absolute bombshell tweet saying Bruno Lage facing January frustration over player plea, with Wolves reluctant to spend. Potential sale of Adama Traore could be the key to any new additions. Also in this, Dion Sanderson set for a recall from Birmingham City. Now, one of those things has come true so far. Dion Sanderson is back. At the moment, Adama Traore is still a Wolves player. There are rumblings of sort of like a £20 million bid for him. But it was meltdown on Twitter, Harry. It was, I think the word you used was toxic.
Yeah, it was mad. And this United win has dampened it down a bit. Look, the thing is, this Percy fella, he's very reliable. A lot of the stuff he comes out with seems to come true. So this seems pretty legit. We know about the FFP stuff with the Premier League rules and the European rules, which are tying our hands. And because of the disappointment in the summer, we missed out on Botman, Sanchez, we even went in for Kiefer Moore. I think everyone expected us to go for players, and it does look like it's going to be loans. And what really shocked me the most, and I don't want to is it generalise, or it feels like a lot of the younger fans on Twitter, a lot of older teens, early 20s are all like, right, that's it, Fosun out. They're not backing him. They've brought him in. They're not backing him. Get him and gone. They're doing esports. They're doing record deals. They're doing all this other stuff. Getting Mr. Miami to promote us on YouTube. Get them gone. It's over. Whereas obviously the older generation, be bloody grateful. Fucking 6 years ago, we were struggling like crap under Morgan, and look what they've done for us. So it's a weird one because I see both sides. We've had a few years of poor windows. We've spent 35 million on Fabio Silva, which he did all right against at Old Trafford, didn't he, when he come on, but it's been a bit of a failure. And I just think some people are overreacting. And for me, to say you want Fosun out is absolutely fucking ridiculous, in my opinion. but we do need to back him in some kind of way. And just bringing Deion Sanderson back and just bringing Giles back is not good enough. We've got to find some kind of way, whether it's a loan to buy or something, to bring in a few more quality players to help Bruno, in my opinion. But yeah, very toxic. Don't know what you lads think, but Twitter was in meltdown.
Bayliss?
Yeah, well, we have got to get some players in. There's no doubt in that. I'm not sure when the FFP resets.
It's the Europe one that's killing us. You can't lose more than 5 million if you're not pumping money in. And because is it China that you know more about this shit than me, lads? Because can't Chinese owned businesses they're handcuffed, don't they, at the moment, apparently. So that's why we can't really spend.
I don't think we should discuss the global economic politics of the Chinese communist state government.
That's the rumours anyway.
We're about to get shut down in about 3 seconds.
But fosun out is what baffles me. Where generally fans were like, we're on the 4th or 3rd of January, and they're like, right, fosun have got to go now. They've got to walk. Ridiculous for me.
I think the loan to buy is a good thing. I think January transfer markets are always really expensive, and I think that's not the best way to do the business anyway.
Yeah.
And Wolves will pick up players, and we are playing well. It's just making sure we have the squad there to get to the end of the season and try and actually spend some proper money and bring in maybe 2 marquee signings over the summer.
You say proper money though, because I mean they've spent well over, I think, 300 million, haven't they, since taking over? And when you look at players that we've sold, it's probably only Jota where it's commanded obviously a bigger fee than what we paid for him. So the ins column just isn't as much as the outgoing column isn't as big as the incoming column at the moment, is it? Because that's just based on counting. So when he says you have to sell to buy, that does make sense.
But then look at Mitch's point there. Waste time getting Doc back, Semedo 10 times better. Yeah, but 33 million is, that's a lot of money. And then topped up with Fabio Silva, 70 odd million. What can you buy for 70 odd million? Probably
Kepa, a Chelsea keeper on the bench. You could have. That's what you could have.
You could buy 3 or 4 Ruben Neveses.
Yeah, there's no doubt they've made mistakes, haven't they? They had a really good window of the year we come up, and it's been a bit hit and miss since. I mean, the Fabio Silva one, it's a lot of money, isn't it? And it is a bit of a mistake there, but I see, like I said a minute ago, I see both sides. I was just so shocked how many people were genuinely saying get fosun out. That just shocked me.
I think all teams have duck egg transfers. I mean, even over a longer period of time ago, Alex Ferguson, arguably, if not the greatest Premier League manager of all time, still made bad transfer decisions. And Djemba. I mean, Veron is probably the biggest one that stands out. But then they got Chelsea to pay 15 million for him. So I think it's a bit of balance, isn't it? Because we haven't done too badly. I mean, you look at Semedo, and I think if he'd have cost
Steve Dickens in the comment.
I'm grateful for all fosun have done, but I'm old. Well, there you go, Steve. That's it. That's all we need. It's a bit of perspective, isn't it, from the kids?
I don't know what you lads think. Obviously, you don't really look at Twitter as much as me, but honestly, the argument is literally young versus old on Twitter. When you see the arguments, it's like a battle of the ages. Jack, what do you think? You don't say anything about it. What do you think?
I'm probably in the old camp as well, really. Be careful what you wish for. We were in League One and a bit of a laughing joke, 7-8 years ago. So I'm loving the ride, but at the same time, I can see the frustration because the way it's going so far, and let's be honest, Bruno's doing such a good job with a squad that is 3 or 4 players too short, too small. And it's just a case of we don't want it to be a season of what could have been. We don't want to finish 8th and think, if we added a couple more players, then we could have got into Europe again, because that's going to be really disheartening for everybody, really. And the players that are here that are good, the likes of Neves, the likes of Traore, if you like, if there isn't this investment coming in and we're not going places, why should they stick around? That's what's going to happen. It's going to be like, Neves and Martini have to play in midfield all the time, and don't worry, we'll bring back Gibbs White, or we'll bring back we'll play Jordal as the backup. It's
Toti Gomez in defence. Anyone?
So I think you have to remember as well, these kids that are 17, 18 typing away on Twitter, because that's what they do with their lives. They never watched
on their BMXs.
We are old.
Hey, fellow kids.
Yeah.
That's a shame. They never saw Silas or Thomas Frankowski.
True. Actually, Silas played in that game at Old Trafford.
Did he? Yeah. When we lost 1-0?
Yes.
So Silas,
yeah.
Silas was great for pre-season. But
thing is, though, I think I think Mitch has said it in the comments section there, and I would add on to that. I said if we get Bolly, Neto, and Johnny back fit along with Wang, I would be more than happy with that.
Mosquera. Is this what they're banking on, do you think? Is this why they're just hoping these players come back and they're the same sort of level? I think even then, with the ones you've got back, you listed, we still need another midfielder, don't we? At least. Even the defence has been a revelation this year, fair play. Bring back Bolly, bring back Mosquera if he lives up to the potential that we saw in pre-season. Yeah, he can maybe paper over the cracks there. Johnny would be a big plus. Neto obviously is a massive plus on the wing. Even then, I think we still need a central midfielder. So I think... I don't mind if we just bring in one or two players as long as we show a bit of ambition.
Do you know what's weird though? Sorry, Jack. Just because why it's on my mind as you're speaking. It was a lot of things. It weren't just about the transfers either. It was about the esports and all that, and the prices going up. And I think the fact that we won yesterday, this would have been a little bit of a different podcast, I think, because we're on a bit of a high. And that's what I mean. Like they're not just on about the back in the squad. There's a lot of people who are pointing out the fact that the prices are going up. And they're not investing in the squad, and this esports bollocks, and they're pumping money into different areas. That's what they were questioning Fosun for about as well. And obviously, they're pricing a lot of the fans who've been going for years out, aren't they, with these price rises? So that was another big argument. A lot of the younger fans were saying that, to be fair. So it's not just about the transfers, to be honest.
How much is a ticket for the Sheffield United game?
15 quid.
15 quid.
Well, it hasn't sold out, so I'm sorry, but it's not pricing anyone out of anything if you're not going to sell out.
Well, it's different for a cup game, though, isn't it? I think
it's not. It's one thing saying, "Oh, you're pricing me out of football," to saying you're pricing me out of the game against Manchester United on a Saturday that I want to go and watch. If you want to go and watch Wolves in one of the oldest competitions in the world, you got a chance to do it for £15. It's not pricing anyone out of anything.
I suppose I think it's more in context of the season tickets though, because if the season ticket goes up by 100 quid year on year, eventually that's going to price people out in it, because you know it's going to, the percentage increase is going to dramatically outweigh any sort of wages that have gone up. And I think people don't mind that, and didn't mind that more when we were definitely investing. But it's just because I think he hasn't been backed in the way we were expecting. I appreciate they've obviously got these financial fair play restrictions holding them back a little bit, and I also. They won't just buy anybody, will they? They're quite careful. They'll only do it if it's right and if it fits and they think it's going to be an improvement, which is fair enough. But it'd be nice to get we just need a couple of bodies in, really. Yeah. And I don't think recalling all the players from Grasshoppers and from the Championship is really going to help us that much.
It's like shit Avengers assemble, isn't it?
It goes back to as well. It goes back to, which Jeff has pretty much said he made a mistake about, is when Jeff come out in his first few interviews saying we're going to be Man City in the next 5 to 10 years, things like that. So fans have got that in their head. So when all of a sudden we're stopping, we are spending, but let's be honest, the last few windows, it feels like we're not, and it feels like we're scraping the barrel a bit. So with these statements in the back of the head saying we're going to be like Man City, we're going to go after the big boys, and all of a sudden we've slowed down, fans are like, hold on, you know what I mean? So it's one of them, innit, man? But it's splitting the fan base, and luckily that win kind of got people back, not arguing for a day.
Here's a question: Would you take now if we sign one player in January, but Traore signs a new deal? Would you take it?
But the thing is,
one player and that happens.
I mean, I don't think there's anything in these Doherty rumours, are there? That's just Twitter journalism, isn't it? Plus putting 2 and 2 together. Spurs want Adama, Doherty's crap. Let's swap them. I don't think there's got any legs in that. Because again, why would we want him back, really? We've got cover in that position, really. So it's one of the positions we actually do have cover in. But I don't know, because I know Traore is Marmite. But
get Sanchez on a loan to buy and keep Traore. Would you be happy with that? Maybe.
I mean, they could open talks with Mbappe because he's out of contract at the end of the season. So that's
on his wages. Jesus Christ!
There were some sort of players who are going to be out of contract at the end of the season. One is Tarkowski at Burnley. I mean, we want a quality centre back. Would you say that he would fall under that, Harry?
Well, he's a body and he can play Premier League football, so he can get in.
He's a centre back
at Burnley.
Lacazette.
But you just got to be realistic, don't you?
It's Jesse Lingard.
These wages be too big.
Jesse Lingard.
Wages again. Wages.
Well, it's just popped up on my phone that Newcastle have agreed a fee for Trippier. So they're going to be
they're going to be paying him ridiculous money, aren't they?
Yeah, stupid. I mean, if they go for Aaron Ramsey as well, who's on about 400 grand a week, then it's going to be a championship team.
I'm scared to say as well. Remember in the summer when us lot were like, every podcast we were like, Don't panic, lads. They'll do it. They'll do it. And then obviously got to deadline day. They didn't do it. We didn't get Sanchez and all that. So I don't want to say now, don't panic, lads. It's only the 4th of January. When it comes to the end of January, we'll judge then because I am pretty scared we're not going to sign. It's going to happen again. And
we aren't getting Sanchez, are we? We're not getting Sanchez. I don't know what happened with Sanchez, but I just.
It was never.
I think it was closer than you think, to be honest. I think it was closer than you think, but they just bottled it because he was going to be injured for 6 weeks.
What if we offer him Adama in a swap deal? Would you take that?
Oh, I don't know.
What, for Sanchez?
Yeah.
I don't want to go that way.
The fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter at the moment is our squad is still too small to be talking about players going out rather than players coming in. If we let Traore go, we need to bring in 2 or 3 players.
Sace is exactly the same. Sace's deal is up at the end of the season.
Sace deserves another 2-year contract, wouldn't he, for Sace, I think. But I'll be quite happy with that after his performances this season. And I've been critical of him in the past, really. So, yeah, 2 years for Sace. Quite happy. I'm sure. I think he'd want to stay as well, wouldn't he?
I think he'd stay. Yeah, he's been. How long has he been here? Because was it Lambert that bought him? I'm trying to think. He bought Sace.
No, he was. When it Zenga.
Was he Zenga's first? Then?
Was it? I could be wrong. It might have been Lambert.
I can't remember.
Around that sort of era, wasn't it? Because I remember Sace playing away when we beat Newcastle 2-0 away because he got racially abused, didn't he, by John Joe Shelby?
Yes, he did.
That was early on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was his debut, I think.
I think it might have been his first.
Oh, well, in that case, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Let's have a look at unpopular opinions, Harry. You tweeted something on the 28th of December, 2021, and it said, unpopular opinion, I wouldn't mind if Amazon Prime got the rights to all the Premier League games. I have to say, completely agree with you.
What
did everyone else say by it?
Yeah, that's the thing. I thought it weren't popular, and it turns out it was.
One thing I would say about
it, with being 30 seconds behind.
That's the problem in it. Until but the problem is when you ever used to have it when somebody was watching it on like Sky and somebody was watching it on terrestrial, like round it in the same estate as me, like an England game or something, because the Sky was always 5 seconds behind. So if they started cheering, you're like, shit, what's happened? And then the ball goes in 5 seconds later. So and that is the thing with streaming, is that it needs to be more up to date and everyone needs to be watching at the same rate, which I think they are working on for that. But in terms of coverage, yeah, it's great, isn't it? Obviously, it wouldn't be $7.99 a month if you could watch every Premier League game. It'd suddenly go up to $29.99 a month. But if it's worth it, then I think the thing is, everyone streams it illegally anyway, don't they? So the way it's going is eventually they're just going to have to share every game because people are just watching it anyway. So you might as well get the money for it.
Yeah, about it.
But the thing is, a lot of people, if it was actually affordable and good quality, would happily pay for it rather than stream it for free. I think like a lot of people
pay $7.99, wouldn't you, for the?
I think it'd be more than $7.99. But even if it was £30, you got to watch every Premier League game every month. You'd pay it, wouldn't you? I think. And
you can order like some toasted sandwich bags that'll arrive the next day.
What was refreshing as well? On one of the days they had like all the 3 o'clock kickoffs as well, didn't they? In that weird time between Christmas and New Year.
And also, can I just say how good is Ali McCoist?
Yeah, brilliant. Right. And you wouldn't have. Let's go to Peter Walton. Well, I don't know, guys.
Yeah. What's the ref done? Is it Jeff? So, I mean, that's Harry's unpopular opinion, which proved to be quite popular, I think, amongst most people. I don't think many people were sticking up for Sky, maybe apart from Rupert Murdoch. But, Bayliss, what was your unpopular opinion? Just pick anything you've said in the last 30 years.
João Moutinho is the best player to ever play for Wolves.
That's popular.
I think that's popular.
It will be with the 17 or 18-year-olds that don't know they're born.
Billy Wright, better than Bully.
Wow.
He's incredible. The best footballer that has ever played for Wolves.
Are you not I swear a couple of weeks ago you said that Jan Hoover was better than Semedo. I'm pretty sure that's quite unpopular.
Hold on, Bayliss. Your unpopular opinion is Semedo's better than Doherty, I think.
The other way around.
Other way around, sorry. Doherty's better than Semedo.
To be perfectly honest, I got his stats up because you tweeted a tweet. I thought I best have a response as I've been thrown on the bus before I'd even done anything. The only reason I was being
best way to throw someone under a bus.
The only reason I was being quiet and not replying on our WhatsApp group is because I was sat in a pub enjoying a delicious pint and a lamb tikka madras.
We all had COVID, so we can do that.
The only thing I would say about it all. No, I didn't. They don't do them down here. What are Semedo's stats this season for assists and goals?
We ain't scored many goals, have we? So a bit harsh.
Well, I mean, we've let him 14 goals and he's a defender, so that's got to be a plus. Yeah.
He's got the highest stat of stopping take-ons.
Yeah. Aha.
Doesn't really matter.
So,
I thought you were looking something up and asking a question.
That was my unpopular opinion. I'd done. I was just answering the Semedo thing. You just hadn't done.
Well then, Jack.
No
I don't really have one, to be honest.
I'm right about everything.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Really.
The Hog's Head is overrated.
Wow.
The people in the South Bank leave early too. You just don't see it because the stand's built differently.
There we go. I like that one.
That's true.
That one.
Yeah.
I've got loads. To be fair, Pedence is better than Jota.
Oh,
Clearly
that's the
correct
worst
about
one.
that.
Honestly,
It's
Jack,
just-
that is.
it's-
I mean, Sam, shut up there.
Can't even name
That
right.
is the worst opinion anyone's ever come out of on a podcast.
Do you
Pedence
mean
is
I'm
not better than Jota.
unpopular?
Unpopular
Okay, how
opinion,
many league titles? Who's got more league titles out of the two of them? Who has more league
Who's
titles?
playing at Liverpool and who's playing at Wolves?
This
Pedence
is
playing
worse
at Wolves.
conversation than when David Hay tried to sideline gang rape into his.
Yeah, your mum. Well, on that note,
What was your other
well,
one? Sorry.
the other one. What was my other one? Oh, probably the tickets. The ticket, like loads of people probably have a go at me saying the ticket situation is a closed shop. I just don't think it's true. Unpopular opinion. Right, okay, let's leave it there for this week and say goodbye to Harry Mansell,
Yes. Goodbye, everyone. See you in a bit.
Jack Williams,
Bye, chaps.
and Dan Bayliss.
And ladies, if you're listening.
And it's a goodbye from me. Goodbye.
The ladies ain't listening.
Hello, ladies.
It's still live.